and welcome to the September edition of the Habitat Home Show. Today, we have another exciting episode lined up for you. We're going to be doing a couple interviews with some of our staff members so you can kind of get to know Habitat and the people that work at Habitat. We'll be looking at the progress we've made on our 650 Senate house down in Miamisburg. We have some great additions to what happened there this weekend especially, and it's made quite a bit of progress in the last few weeks. We'll also be looking at some of the items we have in our restore right now for sale. Ashley Reeves will be back with the Volunteer Spotlight. We'll also be talking with our Family Support Chair, Laura Seyfange. And we'll finish up with another segment of Norm's Know-How, where he's going to show us how to get ready for some of our exterior finishes in the wintertime and preparing for the change of seasons. So to begin this episode, we're going to introduce to you our Restore Manager, Phil Kloos. Phil, welcome to the Habitat Home Show.
Thanks for having me, Brad.
Is this your first time here? I can't remember.
Very first time on the TV here.
Are you nervous?
Not at all.
Okay, good. So in your role as the Restore Manager, what exactly do you do for Habitat then?
Well, I oversee the intake of donated items, the processing of those, and the merchandising of those in the store.
Gotcha. And so you do all the pricing and everything, as well as working with the people the customers that are coming in and kind of customer service?
Work with customers, work with donors, work with volunteers, a lot of work with volunteers.
Okay. So in the customer role or working with the customers, if I remember correctly, you had sold forms in a previous life, you might say?
I spent my life selling business forms.
Really? And how has that prepared you for your role as the Restore Manager?
Well, selling is selling and dealing with people, and our customers are as diverse as our products in the Restore. So, as you know, we have everything from paint to hinges to doors to kitchen cabinets. So it's very diverse, and customers are just as diverse. We have landlords, we have property owners, we have newlyweds that have their first house.
What would you say would be the majority of your customers as far as like the groups you mentioned there? Who are the largest population of folks that come in and shop at the
Mostly
restore?
homeowners,
Okay.
but we have builders also.
And not Habitat homeowners, right? It's open to the general public, correct?
Open to the general public. We're a thrift store, not like any other thrift store. And walking into our store is kind of like walking into a big estate sale.
Now, are you an estate sale kind of person? Do you go to...
Absolutely.
Do you really?
Absolutely.
Okay.
And thrift shops.
Okay. Yeah, I know. You always talk about the boots you find at different places, right?
Thrift shops, antique shops. It's a lot of what we've done.
Okay. So, like, what would be your favorite part then about working at the Restore? Is it seeing the diverse items that come in, or?
Just the total diversity of it, dealing with different people and dealing with different items. Whether you're people-focused or item-focused, it's always interesting because it's always different every day.
What's your favorite item you've seen that's come in there so far in your time? I guess you've been there how long?
I've been there 3 years.
Okay.
And, probably the most unique item was we got a slot machine in. And we sent it out and had it put in good working order and then sold it.
Yeah.
About a month ago, we sold a sauna.
Really?
4-person sauna. So it's very diverse.
And so you're selling to a diverse set of customers. Are they all from the Dayton area?
No, actually, with the we got a large donation, as you know, of Whirlpool appliances, and they're high-end stainless steel, state-of-the-art appliances. And we had some on eBay, and consequently, we've developed a group of customers out of Pittsburgh. And they'll drive over from Pittsburgh with a trailer or their SUV and buy appliances.
Is it the prices that they come? I mean, that's like a 6-hour drive, 5.5, 6-hour drive probably.
Absolutely, but when you can buy a $4,000 double oven, stainless steel double oven for $1,200 or $1,300, it's well worth the afternoon.
Well, I would say so. So how do you do the pricing then? Because you get items that come in, some are brand new, some of them are gently used, some of them are still in the boxes, but how do you look at pricing these things?
We typically will Google it and go 50% off of retail if it's new. If it's used or has some damage to it, less than that. Okay.
Is it kind of a balancing act? Because as the development person at Habitat and as trying to raise money, it's probably it seems like a balance between keeping items moving through the store, so you're bringing in revenue because they've been donated, but also getting the most value or the most money you can out of them. Is that kind of a difficult balance to maintain?
No, it really is a balancing act. We look at our stock in the back, which now we have very little stock in the back. As long as we keep the product items moving, we look at them every 2 weeks or so. If they're not moving, we'll go through and make a price adjustment. If they're there a month, we'll mark them down significantly and move them out.
Gotcha.
We like to keep the product consistently moving.
So you mark them down based on the time they're in there, not so much, you know, if a customer comes in and says, "Oh, I'll give you $10 for this," instead it's marked 20.
We really try to avoid that because what we end up doing, it ends up being like, let's make a deal, to where you're spending all of your time negotiating with customers, not helping customers load their product or bringing product in. You know, during the normal functions of business, you spend all your time haggling. And so we've gone away from that, and we established our prices are firm but markdowns are frequent policy.
Gotcha.
And most customers have adjusted to that. There are a few holdouts though.
Well, you know, that's interesting because that let's make a deal kind of experience, that could prime you for a host spot on a TV show.
Maybe after this,
Yeah,
after this, I could have my own show.
That's exactly right. Well, okay, so that's a little bit about the Restore, but we want to delve into a little bit about like Phil Kloos, you know,
Okay.
Restore extraordinaire. One thing that's always interested me: how did you get interested in Maynard Ferguson?
Boy, I saw him in high school.
Okay,
And once you see Maynard live, you're hooked.
really?
Yeah.
It wasn't like the Rocky theme or anything like that.
No, that came long after.
Okay, gotcha. Oh, whew.
But always been addicted to horns.
Gotcha. Okay, and it continues then today. Is there
Absolutely.
Is there something like? Were you involved in music as a pre-high school or in high school?
A little bit in high school. I wasn't very good.
Okay.
I played the drums, but
Oh.
not a lot of musical talent. But I've always loved music, and that's how I got hooked on Maynard.
So you got hooked on him. Okay, well that's good to know because that was always one of those things I knew you liked Maynard, but I was never able to put it directly together.
Even
where
had a
it came
dog
from.
named Maynard.
You had a dog named
My last
Maynard.
dog was named Maynard.
Really?
Yes.
What happened to it?
Well, he died recently.
Okay, I'm sorry to hear that. Sorry to tear you up. Well, that's to go back to the Restore.
You're like
now.
Barbara Walters. You're gonna
Yeah.
make me cry.
I try. That's what I get at with these interviews. You know, we ask the hard questions. That's one thing that you bring up. So to tie music back to the Restore, we hardly get musical instruments in there. Would that be something? Is that something you guys accept as donations if somebody has them?
Typically not.
Okay.
There's a million people in the city, and there's a million people with old pianos that they'd like to find a home for, and they're heavy and costly to refurbish, and therefore it's not something we take.
Gotcha.
It's kind of like exercise equipment. There's an awful lot of that out there. A lot of people buy it. It sits in a corner a year or two, and then they want to donate to somebody. And so we've been the recipient of a lot of exercise equipment that doesn't move very fast.
Gotcha.
We like things that move fast.
Sure, sure. What's the fastest moving items that you have in the Restore to that point?
Right now, it's paint. And
Really?
actually, it's a purchased item. As a thrift store for a not-for-profit, we're allowed to sell a small percentage of new products. So we sell paint, recycled paint, which fits well into our mission, and also painting supplies. And we sell recycled paint for $12 a gallon, and it's been flying off the shelves.
Excellent. And I think that's a issue as we kind of wrap up here that people don't realize about the Restore. It's also a recycling initiative, right? To keep things out of the landfill, things that can be
Yes.
reused or repurposed.
Yes, there's a lot of things that, you know, the old saying, one man's trash is another man's treasure. And there's a lot of items that people would otherwise discard, and they bring them into the Restore, have us pick them up, and we sell them. Then somebody is happy to have them
Okay.
and happy to pay for them.
Perfect. Yeah. It's a
Perfect circle.
Yeah, I was just gonna say, I know as I move into a new apartment, I'll be looking in there for kitchen table and washer and dryer. So I'll be keeping my eyes peeled. So, well, Phil, we're going to wrap up here with this. Thank you very much. Do you want to tell the viewership when you're open and where to find us?
Restore is open Tuesday through Saturday, Tuesday through Friday, 9 to 5, and 9 to 3 on Saturday.
Cool. Thank you very much, and thanks for coming on the Habitat Home Show today.
Thanks for having me.
All right. Well, our next interview today is with our mortgage specialist, Danny Moore. So Danny, welcome back to the Habitat Home Show. I know this is the much anticipated return to the stage for you.
Yes, thanks for having me again.
Yeah,
Appreciate
no
it, Brad.
Thanks for coming in. And last time we spoke, it was about your role as a mortgage specialist with Habitat. 'Cause I think a lot of people don't realize that we're actually the mortgage lender.
Correct.
So that seems like a special set of skills, you know, kind of like Liam Neeson in Taken, right?
Right,
Kind of thing,
right.
except in a different role.
The collections aspect.
The collection, yeah, exactly. What did you do prior to this that prepared you to be able to be a mortgage specialist with Habitat?
Oh, well, I kind of fell into it dumb luck. Like I started temping when I was in my mid-20s at National City. Probably shouldn't say the name, but at National City, and then I worked there for about a year or two, and then they were testing me. I didn't realize it. They just asked me to do something. Well, apparently I did so well that they decided to train me to be a mortgage closer.
Oh.
So then I just kind of bounced back and forth doing various things in the mortgage industry.
So a mortgage closer, what exactly? Excuse me, but like, is that so? You're only on one part of the mortgage when you're the mortgage closer?
Correct. Typically, there'll be a loan officer, a loan processor, and then the closer gets all the closing paperwork together, you know, to send to the title agency that they actually sign at the table.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So how has that changed with Habitat then? I mean, obviously you're doing the whole process. I don't think we have an opener or a closer.
Well, basically, I'm kind of the loan officer and the processor, but we do have our closer, Bev, who we work with. Gotcha. So she does the closing paperwork, but I do all the pre-closing paperwork and service all the mortgages and pretty much every other part of the process.
Cool. So what do you like the most about working with the partner families in that way? Or even, you know, to me it sounds like a lot of paperwork, which I'm sure it is, and kind of compliance in a lot of ways.
Yes.
What's your favorite part of that?
The best part is this is the first position I've had where there's actually face-to-face interaction. Okay. Every other time it was just over the phone, never got anything really gratifying out of it, never got to see someone's, you know, tears when they got their brand new home. So I think that's easily the best part.
So it's a very fulfilling kind of position.
Exactly,
in that way.
exactly.
When I find it funny that some of the partner families relate to some of your office decorations, right? Can you tell us about some of that?
The funniest story I like to tell is that I had a homeowner come in that was a couple of months behind, and I guess I had been warned previously that, you know, personality was a little, you know, you had to, you know what I'm saying, like a little prickly. So he comes in and I'm having me wearing my University of Kentucky hoodie that day, and he walks in and instantly says, "I like this guy," and then he wrote a check and completely called up, and he has been ever since. So sometimes it helps.
Yeah.
Luckily, it wasn't a Louisville fan.
Right.
Might have
yeah.
gone bad, but
real bad. Yeah.
yeah.
So so that's interesting, and I know you're a big UK fan, a big Cincinnati Reds fan. How did you get into the University of Kentucky?
Well, I actually have a lot of family that grew up either in Kentucky or right on the border.
Okay.
Or a couple people that grew up in Louisville. So I was kind of raised to be a UK fan. In fact, me and my brother and my cousin always joke, one of our earliest sports memories is watching Christian Laettner hit that shot in '92 and us bawling our eyes out on the carpet.
Oh.
So, but we've had some good memories since. So.
Sure, yeah. That's a dominating program, it seems like. Well, that's good. And so, okay, I hear a lot, and I don't think I've ever met, but tell me about Stanley.
Stanley.
Yes, as we delve into all that is Danny Moore.
Stanley is my little, probably about 5-year-old wire-haired dachshund, miniature wire-haired dachshund.
So he has short legs, huh?
He has short legs, and he's not as long as a dachshund, so he's more compacted.
Gotcha.
But yeah, he's a handful. It's like having a kid, basically.
And I hear literally a handful when it comes to going up and down the steps at your apartment, right?
Yeah, so the problem is that I live on what's technically the 3rd floor, which has 3 sets of stairs, and his legs and his back and everything can't handle the stairs, so I have to carry him like a baby up and down the stairs every time I take him out.
Gotcha.
So it's a little bit of a workout for me every day, which is good.
Yeah.
My right arm is probably a lot bigger than my left. So.
I can tell from
Yeah,
this angle.
yeah.
It probably helps with the employee wellness program.
Exactly,
too.
exactly. Get my steps in.
Yeah, exactly. See, the funny part about that, it's kind of an inside joke, but the public knows about this, as I heard about that story from somebody who had no clue who I was, talking about the infamous Danny and Stanley's stairwell
Yes.
markings.
Yes. He's actually he's pretty popular around my apartment.
Sure.
Yeah.
Which is in the same neighborhood as Habitat, right?
Yeah, correct. I walk to work every day. It's less than a 5-minute walk. As you know, you live real close to.
Well,
So it wakes me up in the morning if there's a nice breeze out, and get a little bit of exercise in. So
get ready for a long day's work. and
right. It's just
feel it.
convenient. Yeah.
Awesome. Well, Danny, I appreciate you coming on and talking a little bit more about yourself. So hopefully, that's one thing that if somebody comes into the office, you don't have a picture of Stanley.
That's true. That is true.
What's that? I mean, luckily, I don't think Stanley's going to notice, but maybe that's something they can get you for Christmas. Maybe Cam or Ashley.
Yeah, maybe you can get me a big poster size Stanley I can put on the wall.
Okay,
Yeah.
that'd be good. What do they call those things? Big head or fat heads?
Oh, fat heads, yes.
That'd be good. We put a UK jersey on them and everything.
Yeah, he actually does have a UK shirt that he wears for game day.
Of course.
That's the sad truth.
Gotcha. So, well, again, thank you very much for coming on.
No problem. Thank you.
So, if you haven't heard enough about Habitat staff members or volunteers, our next segment's going to be Ashley Reeves interviewing Laura Seyfange, who is our family support chair.
Welcome to our September edition of our Volunteer Spotlight. I'm Ashley Reeves, Volunteer Coordinator, and I am so happy to be joined today by Laura Seyfange. She's a current Habitat for Humanity of Greater Dayton board member and the chair of our Family Support Committee. So thank you so much for joining me today, Laura. I'm so happy that you're here.
Glad to be here.
Good. So I want to just dive right in. So tell me, how did you first become involved with Habitat?
It was probably about 12 years ago. I like to do some home remodeling, and the house I was living in was pretty fixed up by then. And I just thought, I'm bored. I need some way to still use those skills and talents and learn some more. And I was looking for a volunteer opportunity. So I just started volunteering on local builds around town.
Okay. How long have you been on our board?
I think about 5 years now.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So not only have you been a build site volunteer and you're a current board member, but you also are involved in our Family Support Committee as the chair of that committee.
Yeah.
So tell me a little bit about that committee and what its role is within our organization.
Okay, well, I started as a committee member on our Family Selection Committee, which
Okay.
was all about helping pick families who are going to be in our program. And partway into that, it became clear that we had another role that really needed to be played, which was supporting the families once they were in the program. So we kind of split off and made a subcommittee that has maintained a life of its own now for probably about 6 or 7 years. And that committee's role is to support the families who are currently working to get their house.
Okay.
So at any point in time, we might have about 30 families in the queue, who, from the time they get selected till they go through the process of working and volunteering and earning sweat equity hours. They also take some really important classes that help them be prepared for home ownership, a lot of them in financial management kind of things, but also how to take care of their house. And then they also save up money so that they have money for their closing costs when they're going to close on their mortgage. So what our support committee does is kind of check to see how families are doing in that process, track to see if they're staying on schedule, and then if they're not, figure out how to help them. So we have started a mentoring or family advocate program, which is about assigning people a one-on-one kind of coach that will help them through the process. And just keep them so that they'll be successful, because we really want every family that gets in the program to actually make it and get into a house.
Absolutely. And I know I've done a volunteer spotlight with some of our family advocates, and I know they just have such a passion for helping to support these families. On average, our families are in their program for 18 to 24 months, so that can become discouraging. So it's great to have a committee and a subcommittee of a committee that's there to help support them through that process. So I know that there's a volunteer need there. You guys are always looking for new volunteers. Is there some kind of process in order to become a part of the Family Support Committee or to become a family advocate?
Well, I think they would call you and say that they were interested. The need on the committee is really, a lot of what we do is recruit advocates.
Okay.
So we're out there trying to find people who are interested in being family advocates, because we're always looking for new advocates, which is a great volunteer opportunity. You've interviewed folks, but so they'll have talked about it. But it's a great flexible way to really engage one-on-one with our partner families. But the committee gets involved in helping plan fun activities for our partner families. They get involved in, again, recruiting the advocates, and also just kind of working with families who might be struggling along the way in the process. We also do things like helping with the classes, so scheduling new trainers when we need people for the classes, that sort of thing. So if people are interested in that kind of committee work, really they should just let you know, and I'm sure you'd pass their name along to me and we'd say, come on, join us.
Absolutely.
We only meet about once every 6 or 7 weeks, so it's not a tremendously time-consuming committee. It's a pretty easy one to get involved with.
Absolutely, and I think your committee is really great because you get that family services aspect of our organization. You get to work directly with the families, help support them, which is definitely important. It's why we all work and volunteer for Habitat, so it's definitely an important one. So as you continue, you've been volunteering with us for 12 years. What motivates you to continue to volunteer with us? I know you do a lot.
I do. But I do love it because I just think it's an agency. The motto of it's a hand up, not a handout, really sticks with me. I mean, I think all people deserve to be treated with respect and want to be treated with respect. And so this agency's focus is really about respecting people to say you deserve a good home, everyone deserves a decent place to live, but nobody needs to have it given to them. It's just some people were born in circumstances that make it more difficult for them to achieve that dream, and so I just love being able to help them get there.
Well, awesome. Well, thank you so much for everything that you do, Laura.
Thank you.
I know that I look forward to working with you on different aspects, and I'm sure we will, but thank you again for coming on to be our Volunteer Spotlight this month.
You're very welcome.
As you know, our Follow the Home segment is following our 650 Senate Drive in Miamisburg House. This weekend we had the opportunity to have out some of our sponsors and some dedicated volunteers from the community to help us raise the walls. These walls were actually built at Reynolds and Reynolds parking lot 2 months ago, and these volunteers that came out this week from the Episcopal churches, from Sims Development and Charles and Ann Sims themselves, all worked very hard on Saturday to put the walls up. So you'll see in the pictures, the exterior walls are standing, the interior walls are built and standing, and right now we're just waiting on roof joists, and we hopefully will have those up this weekend. So this house is moving very quickly, and we look forward to following the progress in the future months. In our Restore focus this month, we're going to be looking at the various appliances we have. As I kind of mentioned in my interview with Phil, I'll be moving into a new apartment, and I know when I'm looking for a washer and dryer, that's where I'm going to go, because although in the pictures you see a lot of refrigerators and stoves, we also have a large quantity of washer and dryers that come in every month. Some of the refrigerators you see there, I believe, are brand new, and they were donated by Whirlpool just recently. So come into the Restore and check all those out. We also always have a bunch of furniture, and you'll see some dressers here right now. We have various dressers and kind of bedroom furniture, as well as many couches, chairs, end tables, and various knickknacks, vases, whatever we say there. As well as records, books, and the whole lot of them. So come on down to 115 West Riverview Avenue in Dayton on Tuesdays through Fridays from 9 to 5 or Saturdays from 9 to 3 and pick up any of these items that you may need, including the cabinets that we're looking at right now. So come down to the Restore. Every donation that is made to the Restore is sold to the general public, which in turn turns into cash that we use in order to build more homes in the community. So support Habitat, support affordable housing, and support the Restore by shopping at 115 West Riverview Avenue. Now, time for everybody's favorite segment, Norm's Know-How. So Norm Iose is with us again. Welcome, Norm.
Thank you, Brad.
What the heck do you have on the table, and what are we going to be talking about today?
Well, so today, Brad, I figured I'd talk about what I call a hose bib.
Okay.
Some people call it an exterior faucet. There's about 10 different names for it, but of course everybody's used to seeing this on the outside of the house.
So where I grew up, it was the drinking fountain.
Drinking fountain, yeah, that's great, right? Get some water for your lawn. One of the things I like to talk to or tell our homeowners that are like at our walkthroughs, which of course we did one last week, we have one this week, is about how to protect these from freezing. So that's why I wanted to bring one out today.
Okay.
In the past, these faucets used to be pretty much just what you see there on the end. And so what would happen is during the wintertime, the cold air would get to these. Sometimes they wouldn't be sealed, and they'd end up and they'd freeze, and of course then people would have to turn them off. Now they make this, which is called a frost-free bib, which is what we use on our houses. The way this works is, instead of having the valve here that turns it off, the valve is actually back here on the end. So if you imagine this is your wall, this part of it is warm. And so the idea is that it keeps it from freezing.
Gotcha. So if the valve froze, you wouldn't be able to open it up when you needed it, or were there other problems that were caused?
What would happen is it would freeze, and then generally the pipe would split, and then old style it would just start leaking. With these, if somebody, the drawback about these is, one of the things you have to do is make sure you leave nothing connected in the winter time. So as we go into winter, I always tell our homeowners, the first thing you do is, when you hear about a hard freeze or a frost, take everything off the hose bib. What that does, that lets the water drip out of these. So that basically there's nothing in this pipe here to freeze. Something else I wanted to mention about these is that after time, have you ever had the hose bib on the outside where you see water just dripping out of it or leaking like that? You don't have to replace the whole fixture if that happens. There's basically, the inside of these actually comes apart. You would, of course, in most cases, if it was on your house, you'd have to loosen the nut on the outside here. But they're really pretty simple to fix. Once you loosen that, you actually just take that out, and then you can see here that the washer that turns it off is in the back. And 9 times out of 10, all you have to do is replace the washer.
That's what's allowing the water to come through?
Allowing the water to drip through. This will get brittle or something, or just a little piece of lime or something can even stop it or make it not seal properly. But you do that, and you, of course, put that back in and tighten it up. It's really a pretty easy fix, something easy for a homeowner to do. And then again, if you do this, you don't really technically have to call the plumber out to do any sweating or soldering or anything like that.
Which saves you a considerable amount of money.
Probably, that's right, a $80 service call fee or something, yeah. So simple, I think, easy fix.
Yeah, cool. And that'll get us prepared as the weather changes here, and as hopefully someday we'll get cold weather again. But excellent. Well, thank you very much, Norm.
Sure.
We appreciate the tip, and I think it'll be able to save many people money, as they either from calling a plumber or from a worse problem of the pipe splitting and breaking inside your wall.
Sounds great.
Awesome. Well, thanks again for joining us this afternoon and
Thank
sharing
you.
your wealth of construction knowledge.
Absolutely.
Home
Thanks, Brad.
maintenance knowledge, yes.
All right, thank
So
you.
that does it for our show today. We look forward to seeing you again next month. We'll have a special surprise for you, but we can't tell you yet. So thank you for watching the Habitat Home Show, and tune in again next month.